Hello and welcome to episode 44 of the Dynamo Football Book Club. This week we're doing, or are we, The Soccer War by Ryszard Kapuściński. I am joined by my co-host, John Coughlin. And guess what, Johnny? No compliment for you this week. Instead, I have a question for you, brother. What have you got to say for yourself? What have you got to say for yourself?
So I think it was the third ever episode we did, Al. It was the Ian Wright book. And I joked that I had read the wrong book. Well, I have actually read the wrong book this time. I have not read The Soccer War by Ryszard Kapuściński. That's how you say that now. I know that much. I read a book called The Soccer War, the 1969 war between El Salvador and Honduras by Ted Stoves.
Yeah. Okay. It's fun for me to do the intro because it normally gives me the opportunity to put you on the back foot a little bit, Johnny. But this time you shouldn't be on the back foot. You should be like 8 feet crouching down with your head in your hands, whimpering. I'm sorry, Alistair. I'm sorry, listeners. What have you done? I mean, what do they say? Never blame something on malice, which could be blamed on ineptitude. I thought you were just trying to crowbar in your boring history and politics, but no, it was just more ineptitude, pure ineptitude. What is the number one motto, proverb that they say about, but what don't you do about a book, Johnny? What don't you do?
Judge a book by its cover, I guess.
No, you don't. You don't, Johnny, you don't. Just because it says The Soccer War on the front doesn't mean it's about fucking football. It don't. I imagine you at Christmas time. Ah, Mummy, I know you'd like the birds, so. I know that you like the birds, so I bought you a wonderful book called The Pelican Brief. Oh, to learn about pelicans, so. Ah, brother, you like the musical Spandau Ballet, do you? Oh, well, I bought you a wonderful book. It's called 1984. I'm sure there'll be a chapter about the Thompson twins. That's what you made me do, Johnny. You made me do the offensive Irish accent.
How long was it, the book?
It was 4 hours of my fucking life, Johnny. 4 hours of my life.
Every time we read a book, you tell me it takes as long as it would to watch a film. So this was more like Dances with Wolves. Is it just that you struggle with the kind of denser stuff?
The denser stuff? I struggle with that. I struggle about the stuff that's not about football. As I told you before the recording, I did a little Kindle search. The word football appears once in The Soccer War, and it is referred to as a football stadium where people are taken to be executed. I have to laugh, Johnny. I have to laugh.
Well, let me tell you, Al, what was his name? Ted Stoves' version was much shorter. It was only 100 pages long. You'd have loved it.
What? You read a 100-page book? I read 4 fucking 250. Oh.
So, okay, you didn't like it then, should
I guess as books about various coups and wars in the 1960s written by Polish journalists, Johnny, it's my favourite book I've ever read. It's also my least favourite because it's the only one.
I know. I don't think Ted Stoves is Polish, but I suspect the one that you read is better than the one that I read.
I mean, I've done my research into fucking Richard K. And I mean, he's a very highly respected war journalist in Poland. He is not a football journalist. He is not at all. So basically, for the last week, I've learned a great deal about various coups and wars in Central America and Africa.
I wish I read that one. It's not on.
I know you would have loved it, Johnny. You would have loved it. You would. This is what I thought. This is what look. Johnny's trying to hijack the whole podcast. It's sabotage. He's trying to make it about his boring history stuff. Oh, mate.
Well, that was just about my idiocy, really. Incredible snafu. So, the true enemy of man is generalization. To be a good journalist, you have to be a good person. These are some Kapuściński lines. He has a good turn of phrase. And I tell you what, do you know who doesn't have a good turn of phrase? Ted Stoves. And I'm going to stop saying that about everything now, because let me just say, I didn't take any notes. I was reading this book. Like, I've read a couple of Kapuściński books before and they were good. I know he's not everyone's cup of tea and he's had his critics. I read today that he would go on these long trips. You said in the last episode that he was around for, he covered 27 coups. So what he would do is he'd go off for months at a time, a year or whatever, and he'd go and live wherever it might be. And he wouldn't take any notes. He wouldn't record his conversations, and he would return to Poland and he would write his books and his long form articles just from memory. Yeah, so you can see why some people criticize him for playing a bit fast and loose, maybe with some facts. But that's how he wrote. That was his style. And he lived under the Polish communist regime. But he worked for a state-sponsored newspaper, and I read that he had, there are files that he had provided information to the regime back in Poland, but I don't think it is held against him that badly, because it doesn't seem he shared anything too damaging. And apparently he used subtle allegory, and he was writing about Ethiopia in The Emperor. He was really writing about Poland. And when you said boring history stuff, is this what you were referring to?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, like, basically, I've got to throw out all my notes because they mean nothing to you. There's a whole chapter about how much he hates desks. Really hates desks. Really fucking hates them. Like, man, desks are a thing that keep a man down. Yeah, you say that he had an unusual form of journalism. Yes, I believe he did. He went about journalism in a very imaginative way. I.e., it does appear he made a lot of shit up. Like, a lot.
Just to go back on the desks, the last time we spoke and we didn't record it, you went on quite a long tirade about pencils. Maybe you and Kapuściński have more in common than you think.
No, because Kapuściński didn't buy 28 desks in a day, all of which were broken. I did buy 28 fucking pencils, every single fucking one of which didn't work. You know, when you're sharpening a pencil, especially coloured crayons, I've got a little girl. Oh, we'll just sharpen the coloured crayon. Oh, it's broken. Oh, we'll just sharpen it, but it's still fucking broken. Oh, it's so fucking broken. Oh, that is one of the most demoralising things in the world. I did that 28 times. Pencils. I don't think that pencils are keeping men down. I just think the pencils I bought from the dollar store were very shit.
Okay, Al, so let's talk about football then. Actually, before we talk about football, let me ask you something else. How long did you work on the cruise ships for?
3 cruises, which ended up being about 2 years.
So you went to South America and Central America quite a lot, right? Caribbean?
Yeah, Caribbean. We only went to Colombia. That's the only South American port we had. But yes, I mean, the Central America, we were all around that all the time. Panama, Costa Rica.
Have you been to Honduras or San Salvador or El Salvador?
Weirdly, they don't make those cruise ship destinations the most dangerous places on earth. No, I'm not.
Okay,
I've not been there, no.
that was my first question. Okay, and then I've got some football related questions, because there was no football in my book. To be fair, the word soccer came up maybe 12 or 15 times, but every single time it was soccer war. And every time he used it in inverted commas. So that was the only time that word was used in that book. But okay, one of those two countries has had Premier League players. Which one?
It's Honduras, eh? And it's that little angry fella. Oh, what's his name? Played for Watford, am I right?
Are you thinking of Wilson Palacios?
No, but I'll take him. He was Wigan, right? Palacios.
And Spurs.
Yeah, that's right.
And Birmingham and Stoke.
Okay.
A Honduran also got BBC Goal of the Season.
Oh, was that from the halfway line? Hugo
Yeah.
Illega.
Yeah, go on. Maynor Figueroa.
Yes, Maynor Figueroa. And not
Yeah,
not right.
his
Yeah.
his 12th of December goal at the Britannica Stadium against Stoke in 2009. I checked. It wasn't a Tuesday, and it didn't seem to be raining in the footage. But yeah, goal of the season according to BBC when he struck that little free kick from just inside his own half,
I'm just
lobbing.
saying that it is Britannia Stadium, which was always confusing because it was named after a building society, but it was one of those names which just seemed natural. It was Britannia.
Yeah, but okay. There's been 6 Hondurans in the Premier League. 4 of them played for Wigan. Interesting enough, isn't it?
Man, they had some sort of like scouting out there at the time, didn't they? They really did. Just going back to that goal of the season, Johnny, if I may. That should never be goal of the season. Someone fucking hoofing it like 60, 70 yards should never, ever be goal of the season. Any professional footballer should be able to fucking boot the ball the length of the park and get it on target, right? Anyone should be able to do that. It should never be goal of the season. They're fun when they happen, but it's never goal of the season. But mine,
Lovely. Pele couldn't even do it. That's how good Maynor Figueroa was.
yeah, Pele couldn't do it, but Charlie Adam could do it. So that's how good Manuel Figueroa was.
Okay, so this soccer war. So I read about the actual soccer because the football, because of the absence of it in the book. So they were competing against each other to be the first Central American team to play in a World Cup. And it wasn't just any boring old black and white England World Cup or anything like that. This was the sexiest World Cup of all, the 1970 Brazil and Pele, that Zaire guy who kicked the ball out of the free kick. Yeah, this is the sexy World Cup in Mexico, Technicolor World Cup, lovely stuff.
First yellow cards.
That was what was at stake. So that's the fun part. But I have got some more. I've got more football facts about the two countries. Would you like to hear some? Who do you think?
Yes, I would, John.
Okay, can I ask you a question? Actually, who are you up for in the soccer war?
Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? I think I'm rooting for El Salvador. That's from the perspective old Ryszard Kapuściński was. I'm not doing it deliberately either. Kapuściński.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. Oh, Kapuściński. He was on the side of El Salvadorians. So, yeah, I guess that's who I'm rooting for. And Honduras, England have played at the World Cup, and Honduras are famously hatchet men, aren't they? Like hatchet men as an international team.
Yeah, well, Salvador have that. El Salvador have that. Their current president, what's his name, Bukele or something like that.
I'm going to surprise you, Johnny. I don't know.
You'd know him. He's that tech bro. He made crypto the currency of. He made like Bitcoin the currency of El Salvador.
No, I'll tell you, when someone says to me crypto, Johnny, I am running the other way. Like, as soon as I hear those words, see you later. I don't want to get involved in that conversation. Faux show.
No, but anyway, it's just hard to be like he's the guy. He went to see Trump. He's accepting fellas who are being deported from America and he's putting them into his massive, huge prisons. I think he's a bit of a scumbag. Anyway, yeah, El Salvador were they were kind of poorer than Honduras, so I guess I was naturally on their side as well. But okay, would you like some more information? Who do you think is higher ranked in the FIFA rankings today?
Honduras.
Correct. 66th versus El Salvador's 87. And so they've both been to the World Cup. El Salvador, who won the actual football in this, which we'll get to in a second, they went in 1970, 1982, and they have their World Cup record is 6 games played and 6 games lost, including the most goals conceded in a single World Cup match, which was against Hungary in 1982. Honduras have been to the World Cup 3 times, but they've never gone out of the group. Only one Central American team has ever gotten out of the group. Who do you think that is?
It's Costa Rica.
Yes. Very good indeed.
Well, because it was at England's humiliating expense. So that is rather seared in the memory. I've some rather fonder memories of England playing Honduras at the World Cup, where we took the old cane out of a cupboard and gave him a bloody good whipping.
Okay, so what happened was these two teams in the late 60s, they played a series of 3 games to figure out who would go to the World Cup. Honduras won the first one, 1-0 in Honduras. And it was kind of a febrile atmosphere with fans surrounding the hotel and honking horns and keeping the poor El Salvadorans awake.
Ryszard Kapuściński also mentioned that, yeah, the whole furore around the hotel. He was shocked. Shocked, I tell you.
Shocked. But then El Salvador took them back to their place and battered them 3-0. And this is when things really started to kick off. The Salvadoran fans rioted outside the Honduran team's hotel, and the Honduran squad was reportedly hidden overnight for their safety. And listen to this, Al. A dirty rag was flown instead of the Honduran flag at kickoff, signaling the contempt of the Salvadorans towards the Hondurans.
Ooh, a dirty rag. That is snide.
Yeah, after the match. So there's a pile of Salvadoran migrant workers in Honduras. And loads of those were attacked afterwards. Homes were burned, and some people were even killed. And thousands fled back to El Salvador. And the El Salvador government started going wild about it, obviously. But then they had to play a third game in Mexico City on neutral ground. Not really sure why they needed it. Was it just a 3-game series?
It said it was a 3-game series in my book. But Ryszard Kapuściński, as Ted, is very unreliable. I've got more about him, sir. More about him.
El Salvador won 3-2 after extra time. And the winning goal, scored by Mauricio Pipo Rodriguez, was scored in the 101st minute. And this triggered Honduras to sever diplomatic ties, which is quite remarkable. And this was very shortly before the war itself began. But anyway, I guess the whole thing is, it's called the Soccer War. By the way, the Soccer War was the name given to it by Kapuściński. He came up with that. Wojna futbolowa is what he described it as in old Polish there.
Can I circle back to 2 things, right? I'm going to give you a bit of thinking space there for this first one. So first of all, if you're going to raise a dirty rag as a flag, what song would you play for ultimate disrespect as their national anthem? The Verdi song? La Cucaracha? What would it be? I'll give you a moment to think about that. And let me just tell you something more about Ryszard Kapuściński. In 2006, a book was written about him by a fellow Polish journalist and one of his previous disciples, Artur Domolewski. And he said, old Ryszard Kapuściński, he tended to stray from the strict rules of Anglo-Saxon journalism. Oh, a drive-by on England again, like, oh, the old reliable factual. And his books, and he describes his books are wonderful and precious, but ultimately they do belong to fiction. Yeah, there's lots of times where Ryszard Kapuściński said he was somewhere getting beaten up, and he wasn't. He wasn't. It was a lot of it was fictional, Johnny. Kapuściński's wife tried to have Domolewski's book banned. His book was called Kapuściński Nonfiction. And Domolewski balked at this. He's like, why? Why? There's only 17 pages that dwell on Kapuściński's erotic relationships and claims he collaborated with Soviet intelligence.
Yeah, he said he is a writer that happens to be a journalist. But Al, in order to be a good journalist, you have to be a good person. So
I think to be a good journalist, you have to tell what fucking happened. That's kind of important, though, isn't it? Like, but describing exactly what happened rather than straying into his magical realism. That's a fucking phrase that I hate. If you told me, oh, the book, it's a bit of magical realism. No, thank you. No, thank you. I'm good.
But about his romantic liaisons, have you got more on that?
No, because that was in the biography of Kapuściński, which I wish I'd read. Although it says it's 600 pages, so I'm glad I didn't. But
I wonder has Ted Stoves done a shorter version of it?
That sounds like a made-up name, doesn't it, from your 50s? What's your name? Ted? Head, looking around the room. Stoves. Ted Stoves.
Okay, because it's in the news now, I think I'd pick "I Am a Real American," the Hulk Hogan song that Trump kind of adopted recently. But that would be that would be a bit of a smack in the face to the Honjurans, I think.
What would I felt like? Star Trekking? Um, just something absurd.
Okay, is there anything you want to say about the book itself? Like, I'd like to know. Tell me all about it.
Well, I've got lots of funny observations, Johnny, about a variety of the characters that appear in this book. So the book, The Soccer War, is only one chapter about the Honduras and El Salvadorian War. It is just a collection of his stories throughout the 1960s. So it begins in Ghana. He's staying in a little hotel. He then travels back to Poland. I mean, he is intrepid, apparently. Um, that's when he has his little rant about desks. Then he like travels down to the Congo very dangerously, has to travel through Sudan, and then he wasn't welcome into the Congo because he came from a socialist country. And that sounds absolutely horrifying. He was beaten up at every checkpoint, doused in benzene. They were going to burn him alive. But again, maybe that happened. But unfortunately, maybe it didn't. So he's there, he's Congo, he goes back. There's a bit about Central America. He's in Argentina for a bit. Yeah, it's just basically is a bunch of his stories, starting in 1960, ending in 1969, of a variety of coups and wars that he's been involved in. It's not a bad book, Johnny. I quite enjoyed it, and he is a nice writer for sure. I mean, he has interesting things to say. But yeah, even reading the book before I read up about the alleged discrepancies with his reporting, I was thinking to myself, bullshit, bullshit. All the
I
time, I was just, come on, I don't believe you there. I don't be. There's times when it just, he seems impervious to fear in a way that just doesn't really ring true. He's also very much, I wanted to tell them, I'm not on the side of the colonizers. I'm not on the side of the colonizers. He was always trying to tell people, but he was a good white man. But he could never, he could never speak the language, so he could never get it across. And he was always accused of being whoever was the bad guy at the moment.
So you think he was just staying in whatever the fanciest hotel was in any given country, his feet up on the desk that he hated so much, and just writing whatever, and well, not writing, just being there because he wrote it when he went back to Poland. Is that your is that what you are alleging here, Al?
There's a lot of him just lying on basic cots, looking at like a moribund ceiling fan, gently wafting air through a hot. He talks about the heat a lot, the tropics, and the exoticness of it all, but it's not exotic anymore. Um, yeah, he kind of rambles on. The bits about his wartime stuff are kind of interesting, but crucially, they're not about football, not at all. We just read a war book.
Yeah, well, I read was kind of an academic book, which we don't even have to talk about. But you said there was interesting characters in the actual book we were supposed to read. There was no interesting characters in the one that I read because there was literally no characters. It was just it was really, really, really bad.
No, no, we count lots of characters in this, and I have funny things from. So there's a bit about Algeria, Boom Dien and Ben Bella. Are these names familiar with you?
Is Ben Bella the footballer from the 1920s?
No,
Was he the was he the
he was
president of
president of
Algeria?
Algeria.
Yeah, okay. He played for was it for Marseille as we figured out or as we figured out?
Was that not Basil Boli?
No, the first Algerian president played for Marseille. That was in the
Really?
defeat of the Chameleon. You really don't remember anything from these books, do you?
Absolutely nothing like. Yeah, well, here's my notes on it. Ben Bella looked a bit like Santi Cazorla. And Huari Boom Dien, who replaced him after the coup, looks really like Steve Cooper. He's got those big, sort of luscious lips, which look so ill placed on an OD man. Yep, I'm trying it, Johnny. I'm trying to bring it back to football.
Erling Haaland has the most luscious lips of all, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, yeah. You don't want. Yeah, man. It's just so indecent on an ugly bloke. Isn't it? Big bull lips. I used to stare at Steve Cooper's lips when he was giving press conference at Forest Gate and just be like, both like just full of admiration, but also repulsion of those big full lips expressing the game.
Does I don't remember Steve Cooper. I remember him being a pretty ugly fellow, but I don't remember him having such luscious lips.
Yeah, big, luscious lips, and then the eyes of a lizard. It's very, very unusual looking man. Wonderful, wonderful man, but, yeah, not gonna be, troubling the, Calvin Klein underpant modeling contract anytime soon.
Because I think Holland probably fancies himself as a Calvin Klein underpants kind of guy. Please, you describe what he looks like now, please.
What Haaland looks like?
Yeah.
He looks well, there's no good trying to describe because he looks like no one else in the whole world. So he's like 7'4", right? He's got long flowing blonde hair, a big square head, and as you say, just these massive, great red lips on him, like he could just eat you up. Like he does defenders, like hum, hum.
Yeah.
Piggy little eyes. Um, yeah, piggy little eyes with big full lips and long blonde hair. It is. He's so ugly. He's almost attractive. I think in a way. He's impressive, isn't he? He's impressive.
He must be really impressive in person, but I'd say his features are all kind of big and bloated. Anyway, that's Erling Haaland.
Whereas Steve Cooper's looks shriveled and wrinkled, but just again with those lovely big lips. Anyway, so I'm glad to see we got some mileage out of the appearance of Houari Boumediene, the ex-Algerian dictator. I'm glad I got something out of that. Yeah, some other notes I had. Who was that Ghana guy? The president who was killed. Oh no, the Congolese president. What was his name? Famous one.
Oh, you mean from Zaire, from
Yes.
Nkoko, Mobutu.
No, I don't mean him. Yep.
Who are you talking about then?
The bloke I read a book about 20 years ago, Johnny. Hang on, I can find it.
It sure wasn't Mobutu.
It wasn't Mobutu. This lad was knocked off. I mean, I'm pretty out now at this point, Johnny. This is all my notes. I had a little story about how I was reading about a book about this unnamed African leader, which I threw off a balcony. That's
Why did you throw the book off the balcony?
because it was like a fictionalized version of history, and it was written from a perspective of like a journalist, and he met like a local woman, he fell in love with her, and he describes. I need to find out what this. She goes, "She exists me. She exists me. Fuck off." Threw it off a balcony. Had to go and get it off the side of a mountain in the Himalayas. Yeah, it was quite. I did it for comic effect and then regretted it because I hadn't finished it.
Are you a book finisher?
Yeah, yeah, 90% of the time, I'd say. I mean, if I really hate it in the first, like, 50 pages, I'll give up. But generally, I do. Actually, I give up books more now than at any point in my whole life. I think mainly because I get them from the library on my Kindle and, it expires and I just run out of time, and then I lose patience, and I'm always trying to read the fucking football books, or in this case, the history of wars in the '60s, which I did fucking finish. Oh, mate, I was fucking jamming that away before I went to bed last night. Oh, get it down me. Woke up this morning, get it down me. I'll take the little one to the trampoline place so I can read my fucking book. And all for nothing. Nothing.
It would be okay. It's bad enough that I didn't read it, but it would be worse if neither of us had read it.
Well,
You took
but this is the beauty part. I won't remember anything as well. So I'm not even improved myself. I can't even remember that guy, the big guy who I was going to talk about. All I got is that Boom the End looks like Steve Cooper.
I would say I finish 50% of the books I start.
Yeah, let's have a look. I can have a look on my little Kindle here. This is fascinating stuff for you listeners. I did not finish The House in the Cerulean Sea. Actually, I don't want to read out some of the books I have finished because it's absolute trash. Jimmy, no, it's awful. Because I have to read trash now, Johnny, because I don't have long to read the books. I get like 1 week off between me football books, so I have to get something.
Give me your last 3 books that weren't football.
Oh God. Okay, so yeah, my go-to is always Jeeves and Muster. I read that when I'm out of nothing, so that's what I was reading last night. The Couple Next Door by Shari Lapina. God, sorry. That ain't awful, mumlet. I mean, it's just so awful. It's just an easy read. I could just knock it down me 4 hours. Oh, it was The Woman Next Door after all. I did not finish The House on the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. That had a bit of magical relief. Yeah, as soon as someone has a tail, I'm out. I read a book called The Ministry of Time.
Hey, I read
Excellent book,
that.
Johnny. Oh, you did you? I was going to recommend that to you.
She's Cambodian.
Ah, yeah, but Cambodia. There you go. Lovely stuff, Johnny. Yeah, exactly. You read that. I read it. It was a good book, right? I really thought that was fun.
Yeah, that was a fun book. Yeah, she's British, but her parents are Cambodian, or at least her mother's Cambodian. So yeah,
Well, shall we take it full 90 and describe The Ministry of Time?
yeah, that was a fun book.
It really was. I love the idea of talking to people from old times. That was really great. It was depressing, though, thinking about climate change. I was trying to avoid reading about that because I know it's happening, but I don't need to think about it.
So yeah, the Ministry of Time is about a program run by the government to bring people from the past to the present. It wasn't really. I'm not really quite sure why specifically. I guess because they could, but yeah, it was a whole pile of fun. That is better than The Soccer Wars by Ted Stoves.
It is also better than The Soccer Wars by Ryszard Kapuściński.
So should we give that marks then?
No, I'd give The Ministry of Time 4 awful desks out of 5. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed it.
Well, I would give Ted Stoves honestly 1 desk out of 5. I was, like I say, I've read a couple of Kapuściński's books before, and I don't think I was aware of the criticisms, but I enjoyed them. I thought they were great fun, and this was not fun. This was very, very, very dry, and even in that, it was just unbelievably repetitive. Didn't speak about any individuals whatsoever. It was just like reading like an academic article or something. It was dreadful. 1 desk out of 5 for Ted Stoves. Sorry, Ted.
Well, that's it. I think for The Soccer War, like Ryszard Kapuściński, if I just got into that book, reading it without having any aspiration of it being a book about football, I think I probably would have quite enjoyed it, and I would have taken more stuff in it. He is an interesting character. Obviously, apparently, he makes himself sound a little bit more interesting. But yeah, it's fascinating the things he's done, and like unquestionably an intrepid guy. Yeah, I'd give it like 3.5 out of 5 desks. But as a football book, 0 desks.
Is it worse than Milner's book about football?
I've got this on my fucking notes here. Here we go. Chapter 8. A dispute over a judge ends in the fall of government. Snappy. Can't fucking wait. I'm yearning for Milner. That were my notes. They're right here, Johnny. You can see them. Right at the bottom. I'm yearning for Milner. Literally, I wrote down Milner. Yeah. And then I tried to like get some of the African leaders and describe what they look like. Nkrumah of Ghana, he looks a bit like Gervinho. That's as far as I got. Yeah, so there you go. If you like history, get on it. The Soccer War. If you like football, give it a wide berth. The word soccer appears 8 times.
If you like history or soccer, give The Soccer War by Ted Stoves a very, very wide berth. It's shocking. Okay, well, I suppose next we'll probably do another kind of history book, will we?
No, we fucking won't do. I'm going to pick the next book, Johnny. It is going to be some shitty fucking football book about some twat of a footballer from the 1990s.
Dennis Wise.
That'll do. So when I get my teeth into. Yeah, so this has been the most effed up episode of the Dynamo Football Book Club.
But do we have a book? Do we have a book lined up? You know what you can do, Al? You can pick a Forest book if it'll cheer you up. Do you want to do Stuart Pearce?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Okay, what's it called? I bet it's called Psycho, yes?
Yes, it is.
Okay, Psycho by Stuart Pearce.
Coming up, folks. Now we'll be going. That's a Bondy episode. Lovely stuff. I thought this was pure Johnny episode, but it wasn't. It was a nobody episode because of a very awkward situation. All right, then. So thank you very much for listening to the weirdest episode of the Dynamo Football Book Club.
Yeah, thanks, Al. And thank you, Ted Stoves.
Yeah, and thank you, Ryszard Kapuściński. And our next draft is the worst Premier League footballers ever.
Exactly. The worst players to have played 100 times, because otherwise we could just pick fellas who played for 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's all those novelty names. So this is actually, I think, the most challenging draft we've ever done.
Let your body spin like there is nothing in life but dancing.